There's a lot of problems with the college football playoff, and Jimmy and I are going to tell you about them.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama, AHSA Radio Network's Luke Robinson. That's me. Alabama internet legend Jimmy Stein. That's him. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. We'll talk about FanDuel in just a little bit. I want to thank you every day for joining us every day because you know it. You made Locked On the number one sports podcast network in the business, and we appreciate you. And be sure to join our Everydayer Club. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. It's on the crawler down there, lockedonbama.com/Everydayer Club. And we've had a lot of people join. We appreciate you guys. Okay, so Jimmy, I want to wrap up the Oklahoma game, but I do want to get into some problems with the CFP first.
Sure.
You know, I sort of went on a couple of rants. I guess the games were Saturday. Just trying to watch Tulane and Ole Miss and JMU and Oregon. It was just a tough watch. And I know some people are like, well, JMU put up more points and yards on Oregon than anybody all year. Give me a break. You know dang good and well they were playing the backups. Give me a break. And I've also seen some other folks post a story that a JMU guy went out to Oregon and all he could say was how wonderful Eugene, Oregon was and how much it meant to him and how he's going to tell everybody back in Virginia how wonderful it is. And I think that is a great story. I really do. I truly do believe that's a great story. It's just I don't think we should ruin the playoffs so that we can have a good story in Virginia every now and again. I mean, I really think we need to have the best teams that we can possibly have. It is cheapening the sport. It really is. And then when other people say, oh, yeah, well, Tennessee got blown out. Alabama blew out Michigan State one year. Alabama got blown out by Clemson one year. Georgia beat TCU. On some levels, I hear what you're saying. At the same time, when Tennessee gets smacked around in the playoffs, we can all point and laugh and have a good time and screw with Tennessee fans. When James Madison or Tulane gets punked in the playoffs, we're like, oh, man, don't do that to them. Don't hurt them. It's almost like there are levels to everything. There's a 7A and there's a 6A, a 5A, 4A, 3A, 2A, 1A in Alabama high school football. I think we need to have divisions. I don't know how in the world we're ever going to do it, and I don't know how you do it with all of this antitrust stuff. I'm not smart enough to figure it out. I'm just saying, look, if you really think Tulane and JMU need to be in these playoffs, you're being very disingenuous.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not fair to the fans. I mean, the fans pay for everything. Fans pay for it all. There's nothing that fans don't pay for. Between attendance, the merchandising, and watching the games on TV in droves to the point advertisers pay a lot of money to put the games on TV. The fans pay for everything, and the fans get no seat at the table when it comes to the format. That's just the powers that be. I would, though, not defending the college football playoff in any way, I would like to explain for those unaware, it's not like they sat down and decided these are the 12 best teams. They come up with a format that has to be agreed upon by everybody. And by everybody, that includes the group of 5 conferences. If they exclude the group of 5 conferences from the playoff discussion, the playoff format, and sharing the playoff money, they fear there will be an antitrust lawsuit that they would lose, and it would cost them as much money or more as they would make on the playoff. So they feel that the group of 5, to avoid an antitrust suit, must be included. And what they came up with was, okay, you guys get one spot. And the group of 5 was fine with that. So Tulane was the group of 5 team. That was what we have to put up with to avoid the lawsuits, to include everyone, was Tulane. James Madison was in. That was not the fault of anyone but the Atlantic Coast Conference. It was the ACC's fault that James Madison was in because their conference champion is ranked lower than James Madison. That's on the ACC. I don't know who we should be upset about that. Obviously, the ACC is going to get a seat at the table. In fact, the committee made damn sure of it by putting in Miami over Notre Dame when I think Notre Dame's a better football team. But Miami's in. because you can't exclude the ACC, and the ACC was trying to send its conference champion, Duke, but that's the ACC's fault. In the future, there's a fix to this. I think the fix is coming. I think the future fix is this. Yes, first of all, next year, there's already been a change that most people, unless you read Ross Dellinger every day, you don't know. There's already a change. Next year, it's not the 5 highest ranked conference champions. It's the conference champions from the 4 power conferences. So that means in next year, had this year happened next year, Duke is in, James Madison is out. Is that an improvement? I don't really.
Well, I think the ACC, I think they're going to do something to fix hey, you can't be 8-5 and make the championship game or whatever. I mean, they got to fix that part. So
they need to address their tiebreaker. They need to address their tiebreaker, because their tiebreaker is what got all screwy and stuff. But next year, the ACC champ is in. Doesn't matter who it is or how many losses they have. The ACC champ is in next year, so James Madison would be out. The group of 5 champion would still remain. So next year, quote, we'd have Duke and not James Madison. You'd still have Tulane. You'd also have Notre Dame, because under this new agreement, if Notre Dame is ranked in the top 12, they get an automatic spot. You don't get to exclude them. That's their quote. I guess it's their equivalent of their conference championship type provision. Now that
doesn't make me as mad as this made some people, by the way. I kind of understand that. The only thing I would say is, hey, if y'all are 13, you ain't getting in for dang sure. You know, we ain't gonna rig this thing where you can get in some other way. You better be in that top 12.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I think the easy fix here going in the future about maybe what if they put in a provision that says, okay, you get these automatic bids for 5 highest ranked conference champions, but you must be ranked in the top 20, maybe even the top 15.
Top 15. I don't see why you shouldn't be in the top 12, honestly. And somebody can say, well, James Madison can't get anybody to play him. I mean, they got to work on that. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's not fair that they play the schedule they play and get as much credit as everybody else. And it's also unfair to Ole Miss and to Oregon, who, frankly, I wasn't at both of those games, obviously, but I was at Bama, Oklahoma. And while when I first got there, I thought things were a little mundane, that atmosphere was incredible. It was an incredible atmosphere. It was an incredible game. I probably feel like it was more incredible because we won, but the way we come back, I've seen people say, you know, these are 2 mid teams. These aren't 2 mid teams. I mean, yeah, Alabama and Oklahoma seriously have flaws. There is no doubt, okay? Not saying that they don't have flaws. I'm also saying every team this year has some flaws. This is not a banner year. So whoever wins this championship is not going to be an all-time team. I'm okay with that too. I'm totally okay with that.
That matter.
But it's not right. I mean, Ole Miss basically just had to go through the motions to beat a team they had already beaten. It's that we knew they were going to beat. I mean, it wasn't like Tulane had a shot.
I watched like 30 or 40 minutes of it, and I'm a college football freak, and I love college football, and I even like Tulane's program, and you know, I was kind of wishing good things for Pete, to be honest, but I still only watched 30, 40 minutes of it, and I'm the demographic. I'm the guy they make this stuff for. I'm the guy, and I didn't watch in Oregon and James Madison. I watched even less. So if you got me watching 2 of the playoff games, you got a big problem.
Yeah, nobody knew, I should say, that James Madison had all those points and yards because they all came in the second half when they were getting blowed out at the halftime. Nobody was watching anymore. So it didn't matter. You know what people were watching? Chicago and Green Bay. So, but now I want to go back to the Oklahoma game for just 1 second, too, before we go to our first break. And, you know, I did see one Oklahoma fan that was doing a live show. I got to figure out how to do that. I think I used to know how to do it, and I forgot. Do a live show from his phone from the stadium, and he was really upset, and he was like, Alabama's a fraud. I can't believe blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, come on, man. I mean, first of all, most Oklahoma fans were pretty gracious and pretty cool. Yeah, a couple of them shot birds and did their thing after the game, but I can live with that. But if you're an Oklahoma fan and you're just going, oh, I can't believe we lost this group and nobody's, we're not bad. No, this isn't a vintage Alabama team. I'm fine with that. But to come on there and say, everybody loves to use the term fraudulent right now. Everybody's saying this is fraudulent, that's fraudulent. let's slow down with calling everybody fraudulent.
Yeah, next week will be the worst team to ever beat a number one team. Next game will be the worst team to ever win the Rose Bowl. We're 3 wins away from being the worst team that's ever won the national championship. I'm just kind of resigned myself to that. No one is going to give Alabama credit anymore for anything. I guess because they got blown out in Atlanta against Georgia or lost the opener to Florida State. All these other teams are flawed, but Alabama's apparently not allowed to have these warts, while everyone else other than Indiana has them. But we'll see if we can't put a wart on Indiana. Going to be a heck of a challenge. But I do like Alabama's chances in this game. I know they're a touchdown underdog, but I do like the matchup for Alabama as I've started to dive into it.
I can't wait. Somebody's probably already posted this, and I just don't know it. When's the last time Alabama was a touchdown underdog? To anybody? Anybody? I mean, it had to be pre-2008.
Well, I was going to guess off the top of my head, my answer, and this is probably wrong, 08 Clemson, which was the opener for Alabama in 2008, coming off the 7-6 Nick Saban year. And I know Clemson was ranked in the top 10, and Alabama may have been ranked in the 20s. They might have been a touchdown underdog. They won the game. Alabama won the game and sort of what I think birthed the Saban era, frankly. But also the Georgia game that year, the blackout game, could have been a fairly significant underdog because I think Georgia was either number one or close to it.
Well, I was trying to do that. Well, actually, I just found it. Alabama has it in the SEC championship game. Alabama was a 6.5-point underdog to number one Georgia in it looks like 2021, and they hadn't been that big of a underdog since let's see here, I had to be the Clemson 08 game. It's this article, I'm trying to read through it. Oh gosh, in the 2008 SEC title game, Florida was a 10-point favorite.
Wow, really?
I don't remember that. But
that was the game that Alabama lost. So they lost.
Yeah,
that
well,
game.
I mean, we were number one.
That's correct, and yeah, that is correct. Now that I think back on it, Alabama did lose that game, but it was close. I believe they covered.
They won by 11 because they scored late.
They won by 11 because they scored late. Well, those games all make sense. I would just say notably in 2021 when Georgia was a 6.5-point favorite, Alabama coming off a very poor performance at Auburn, shocked Georgia, won the game, knocked Georgia out of the playoff, put Alabama in the playoff. I like Alabama's. When Alabama's an underdog, I like it. Always feel like Alabama bows up a little bit when they're underestimated, and people continue to underestimate Alabama even after Oklahoma. It's a bit mind-boggling. I don't know what Alabama's going to have to do to get some level of respect. Crazy that it might include beating Indiana, but welcome to 2025.
Yeah, and look, it's just weird to see. We don't get to be the underdog this much or be like have our chip on our shoulder. And so let's take advantage of it. But want to tell you guys now about FanDuel. Love FanDuel. You love it too. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you already probably do love it. Love it a lot because you probably are playing FanDuel as much as I am. NFL Sundays move fast, one big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. You can bet the next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, whatever. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com. Place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast. And, of course, so can you. Jimmy Stein here. Do want to remind everybody about the Everydayer Club. Thank you for making Locked On Bama your first listen of the day, and thank you for making the Locked On are making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. If you haven't already, go check out our Everyday Club. It's access to an ad-free audio feed for Locked On Bama, compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast. And I want to invite you right now to go do this. You don't have to. Jimmy and I are very adamant. Like, we would love for you to be there, because I'm telling you, we do go to the Discord page. We do have some fun talks, and it's all Locked On Bama-esque people. So, I love all the message boards. I look at them all, but I also know some of the message boards, they can get a little wonky. We try to keep ours like pretty condensed and pretty cool. So we would love to have you a part of it. It's $5 a month or $50 for an entire year. It's like giving it away. You can't afford not to join. Go to the Everyday Club and join us. You can do it at lockedonbama.com/everydayerclub, lockedonbama.com/everydayerclub. All right. So, Jimmy, one other thing that came out was that Alabama's going to have a lot more early enrollees than it initially thought, right?
Well,
I don't know about a lot more.
Yeah, but I don't think the number of early enrollees have changed, but when they're arriving has changed.
That's what I should have said. Look, for y'all, if you've watched me the last two podcasts, I'm just now at 70%. So bear with me.
Yeah, the initial plan, and by the way, Bone has a great article up on BOL. Encourage everybody to go read that. Good work over at BOL. What's changed is it's not that I'm sure Alabama surprised themselves by winning the first round, but now that they've won the first round, they're playing in the Rose Bowl. All the players were actually slated not to arrive, the early enrollees, until January 5th, not knowing whether Alabama would still be playing or not. But because they won that first round game, they're going to be practicing this week. 4 players are going to show up as soon as tomorrow. We're recording this on Sunday night. Most of y'all are watching this Monday. So, today, 4 players will arrive and practice with the team as the team practices for the first time in preparation for Indiana. Both corners, Jordan Evans, Zion Gibson, they'll be there. Chris Booker from Atlanta, he's gonna be there as well. And Ced Morgan. And let me tell you, one invaluable thing these guys gave, I don't know whether they can be trained up quick enough to be on the scout team, though that would be great. But imagine that, a scout team receiver with Ced Morgan's ability. I mean, that's what's going to get you ready for Indiana, because as good as Indiana is at wide receiver, and they do have some good receivers, everyone's seen that catch in the end zone, one of the best catches I've ever seen in my life. Indiana's got good receivers, but a talent like Ced Morgan can help get you ready for an opponent. Most scout team receivers, are walk-on type guys, and here's a guy that might be as good of a contested catch monster as anybody in the SEC. So those 4 guys will be there tomorrow. Others are filtering in. I think Bone reported that Jet Tamala will be here like the day after Christmas. Tyrell Miller, the JUCO offensive lineman, he'll be here later this week. Other guys might filter in. Now, some big names like Crowell, Xavier Griffin, they won't be here till January 5th. That's fine. Hopefully Alabama wins on January 1st, and they're getting ready for a semifinal game in Atlanta against the Texas Tech Oregon winner. Hopefully that's the case. And if so, we'll get basically every early enrollee on the field. It's helpful. I don't know that it helps improve them as football players yet, but what you want them is to get familiar with how Alabama practices. So spring practice, day 1, they're not lost. They know how it works. They know where to go, what to do. So it's really a great preparation for spring practice. And if anybody out there has any question about this, no, they cannot play in the game. It's against the rules for them to play in the game. They can go to the game and I think be on the sideline, but they used to not be able to do that, but you can now. But they cannot play in the game by rule.
Does coming in that early, does that preclude them from playing in any of the Under Armour game or Army All-American game or whatever?
They can still choose to do that. It's up to them. It's just their choice, and several will. I know Bear Fretwell's playing in one, and I know there's a longer list than that. But no, several will still play in all-star games, which I think is good for your development because of who you're practicing against. So hopefully that will happen, and as fans, we can still watch those guys play.
Yeah, I still love watching those. I mean, they haven't become irrelevant yet. I mean, a lot of the bowl games have become irrelevant. We all know this, but these all-star games certainly haven't yet. I know the Alabama-Mississippi one has not. Also, some coaching news in terms of coaching leaving. What does losing Sheridan and Shep do to the team right now?
I don't think it's done a lot because, I mean, we had lost Shep and then, just one thing I'd point out, and no, I'm not saying there's a correlation here, but Shep leaves and missed a lot of practices, comes back for the game. Wide receivers dropped a lot of balls. I am not blaming this whatsoever on Shep being gone, but it is like a reminder that you're sort of missing your normal coaches for all of the practices. But no, to my knowledge, Sheridan and Shep are going to continue to stick around, certainly until Indiana. Now they may be missing a handful of practices because they got to get to their new places and be introduced, and so they won't be here for all of the practices. Shouldn't have a tremendous effect. By the way, for those like, what do you mean the quarterback coach is not going to be there? Ryan Grubb coaches the quarterbacks. I mean, Ryan Grubb is involved with coaching the quarterbacks. Here's another guy that works with quarterbacks, Kalen DeBoer. So Alabama won't be missing anything with if Sheridan has to miss a practice or two, and he may not be missing a practice or two. I just know he's expected to stick around pending Indiana.
I'm going to talk game time. Hey, I'm glad I got another opportunity to use game time. There's nothing like the college football season, tailgates, packed stadiums, and being right there in the middle of it all. The energy, the bands, the moments you remember forever. But actually getting tickets, that part used to be frustrating with long queues, logins, prices jumping up at checkout, like crazy stuff like that. That's why Game Time gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to unlock amazing college football tickets and experiences in just a few days. Look, I can open up the Game Time app, go look for Rose Bowl tickets right now, and I'm pretty sure I'm going. I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure, so I hope to see you all out there. And I hope that you all use Game Time to get out there. Take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege. That's all one word, LOCKEDONCollege, for $20 off the first purchase. Terms apply because they apply to everything. Again, let's go to LOCKEDONCollege, $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Go do it after this podcast. Okay, we're going to be talking a lot of Indiana all week long. But we should give the basketball team their flowers. They won again today. Not necessarily the prettiest game ever, but if you're going to have a non-pretty game and beat somebody by enough, but not as much as you probably should, I hope that person is Antoine Petway's team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to beat Antoine Petway by 50. I tell you what, I was a little disappointed in this sense. I saw the other day that Kennesaw State beat somebody, this is several days ago, like 120-80 or something stupid. And I was like, man, when we play them, it may be, 130-100. How cool would that be? Like Loyola Marymount style. And it was a relatively high scoring game. I think it ended up being 91-80 or 90-81 or something like that. 92-81. I mean, it seems like we sort of went through the motions a little bit. I give them a pass. It's a win. You didn't lose to them. Let's just move forward.
I think it's a lot like the football game we started the show talking about, Oregon and James Madison. Alabama raced to a big lead in the first half, totally outmanned Kennesaw. Nate Oates actually proud of the way Alabama played defense in the first half. And Alabama was on their way to stomping Kennesaw big time. But credit Petway and his guys. They didn't quit. They didn't give up. Outscored Alabama in the second half. Actually outscored Alabama in a half of basketball. Now, did Alabama take their foot off the gas? Yes. Oates was as equally displeased with the second half defensively. Seemed to be okay with the offense. Pretty nice day for Aiden Sherrell, 21.7 rebounds. That's a nice day for him. He's continuing to develop. I mean, I think we're watching Aiden Sherrell sort of grow up in front of our eyes. It'll be interesting once we get into the conference games with him. But not a great performance today, but the first half was great. And I guess it's a little understandable Oregon Duck-wise that you don't play intense for 40 minutes when you have someone so outmanned. Not an excuse. Nate's going to be on him pretty hard about that second half in practice this week. But there's only one non-conference game left 1 week from today, as most of y'all listen. They're going to play Yale Monday night in Tuscaloosa on the 29th, and that'll be the final non-conference game. And then we'll set about. I'll predict right now. I think Alabama will be a major contender to win the SEC regular season. I'm not going to tell you right now that they are, but I will tell you and feel very with some certitude. I think Alabama is going to be in this SEC regular season championship race all the way to the end till early March.
Purdue waxed Auburn. That made me feel a little better because, we sort of hung with Purdue for a while. Of course, that game was in Tuscaloosa. By the way, this game that we played Kennesaw State was in Huntsville. I'm trying not to make excuses. They sort of, just sort of went through the motions of the second half. But Kentucky just beat St. John's. So while we were all loving the fact that Alabama beat St. John's in Madison Square Garden, and that was super cool, since then, Auburn's also beaten them in Vegas, and Kentucky just beat them at some neutral site game too. So, maybe that win, the shine is off of it a little bit, and then Kentucky coming in. Kentucky's got to get better at some time. I mean, Gonzaga beat them by 1 million, and that embarrassed them. And so Kentucky is our first.
Lightly, yeah. If you take Kentucky lightly, you're just dumb. I mean, It's Kentucky. They're going to have dudes who are talented as heck at basketball, and Mark Pope knows how to coach. That's going to be a challenge. Should Alabama be favored? Yes. So should they win? Yes. But is it a gimme? Oh, heck no.
I love it when you talk like Philip Marshall writes. Just everything's a question.
Do I?
That you answer. It's like,
will
that happen this weekend? We'll just have to see.
It comes from lawyering. The best way to get something out of your witness when they're on the witness stand is to testify yourself. Like, you were there, weren't you? See, that's me answering the question for my witness because I don't trust him or her to say the right thing. I got to do it.
It was you in the study with the wrench, wasn't it?
Colonel Mustard.
Oh, I can't believe we both picked Colonel Mustard.
We did. Well, Dijon Lee's uncle.
That is true. I've had a lot of people, by the way, ask me. I mean, like several people have texted me, "Hey, did Dijon play against Oklahoma?" Yeah, he played. Now, the one reason you should know he played, he's the one that picked up that punt that was like criminally short for Oklahoma, and it bounced so short that like some defenders had already run past it, and he picked it up and ran it another 5 or 6 yards.
Yeah, that's a rare up back, I guess you could say, that picked up a punt and made some yards. Here's how I can prove Dijon Lee played pretty well against Oklahoma. Dijon Lee played 28 or 30 snaps, and I had multiple people after the game ask me if he played at all.
I know.
He actually played 28 or 30 snaps, almost half of the snaps. And you didn't notice him. You know why? He had his dude covered. They didn't challenge him. You didn't see him out there because he had his dude covered, and Mateer never threw at his guy. So Dijon not only played, he played well. And this is coming off the injury. Dijon was a little banged up, a little injured. He was on that injured list, but he's obviously coming along. He'll be fine. We'll be even more healthy in Pasadena. Not everyone. I keep getting asked about Overton. It's very difficult to know with this situation, but right now, as I'm speaking, I'm going to say no. As I'm speaking, I'll say, I don't think we'll see Overton in Pasadena, but we might. I don't know that that's been determined for sure. So we might, if y'all want to remain a little optimistic, I'm not too optimistic there, but hey, that's a situation that could change rapidly.
I can't wait to start talking about Indiana. I'll be honest with you. I've tried to appreciate this Oklahoma win enough to where like I go back and watch a lot of the game and see highlights and stuff and try to, like mentally picture myself being back in there, mostly because I may have taken too many adult beverages to remember some of it my dang self. But, it's not like there's evidence of it on the internet or anything. Like, do you know how many people go back and look at the comments from our live show Saturday, which was really really Saturday morning or late Friday night? 90% of them are asking if I'm okay and if I need some Narcan or something.
That's funny. We got some funny listeners. That's funny.
We do. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. We'll be back tomorrow with more. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.